see the heading lesson title of this class, we are revising, consolidating the triangle geometry that we've learned so far. So there are 4 triangle reasons that we have learned. I'm just making it a touch smaller so that we can actually look at them. And we need to be able to take those 4 reasons and we need to be able to apply them to, sorry, I'm having a day. Excuse me. We need to be able to apply them to a whole bunch. It's taken such a turn. Like, I was doing quite well, but in the last 10 minutes, I'm not doing so well.
No, at least we are following. We are following. It's just still in a good shape.
Okay. Whew. So, guys, 4 triangle reasons. We need to know how to apply them, when to apply them, according to the diagrams or the examples that were given. All right. So the first reason that we learned 3 weeks ago now is the fact that all 3 angles in a triangle add up to 180. Now remember, it is any type of triangle: isosceles, scalene, obtuse angled, right angled. As long as it's a triangle, the 3 interior angles added together will always give us 180 degrees. You can take it as like a mathematical fact that it's always true. And our reason is sum of angles in a triangle. So remember, thank you, Zandile. Remember that anytime you make a statement in geometry, you have to give a reason. If you don't give a reason, you're going to lose marks. Right, the second reason that we learned was the fact that when we have an exterior angle of a triangle, so an angle outside my triangle, that is equal to the sum of the 2 opposite interior angles. So you can see in my diagram here, A is the exterior angle. If I add together B and C, I get the value or the size of angle A. So exterior angle is when we add together the 2 opposite interior angles. And my reason, nice and easy, exterior angle of a triangle. Right, the third reason that we learned was that when we have a triangle with 2 equal sides, so basically an isosceles triangle, the 2 angles opposite those 2 equal sides are also equal. So again, you get given that the sides are equal, you then know that the angles are equal. And this reason was angles of equal sides. Now, guys, those first 3 are our 3 most important triangle reasons. The 4th one is still useful and we can still ask you it, but it doesn't come up as much. And the 4th one was the one we dealt with last week, Wednesday, when we had a look at our first converse geometric reason. So this reason and statement says that if we are now given a triangle with 2 equal angles, so it's a bit different to the one before. We're now given the equal angles. Previously, we were given 2 equal sides. Then the 2 sides opposite those equal angles are also equal. So this is our first converse statement. Now we've been given that the angles are equal, so we can say that the sides are equal. The reason obviously looks a bit different because it is not the same reason. And so we've got sides of equal angles. So those are 4 triangle reasons that we need to know. We need to be able to apply them to different questions. And like I say, these first 3 are the most important triangle reasons, but it's not to say that we can't ask you this 4th one. We definitely can. It just doesn't come up as often, but it's still important to know it and to be able to use it. Now, I've said this to you throughout our geometry courses, so for the past 6 weeks. You should have a little information sheet somewhere in a file, separate at the back of your book, wherever, where you've been writing down all of your geometry reasons. So angles on a straight line, angles on a point, vert-up angles, all those parallel line reasons, all of these triangle reasons. So that when you do homework, studying for your exam, studying for your test, you have it there next to you and you can start using it more efficiently. It means that you're going to learn your reasons off by heart much quicker, and you're going to be able to apply your reasons much more effectively. So I'm just going to wait here in case anyone does need to screenshot these reasons before we have a look at some examples, but you need to know these reasons and you need to be able to now apply them to examples, which is what we're going to do now. Right, and guys, remember, as Yolanda told you, if at any point you have questions, concerns, whatever, just pop them on the chat and we will help you. Alrighty, let's have a look at some examples. Okay, so I want you guys to try these first two for me by yourself. So remember that I want answers with reasons. So for question 1, you're going to give me M equals with a reason. And for question 2, there's 2 angles that you need to find. So you're going to give me A equals with a reason and B equals with a reason. Now, guys, I'm asking you to start these by yourself, like as the first example, because we've done all of this. Remember, this is a revision lesson. So you need to take everything that you've learned over the past 6 weeks and you now need to apply it here. So M equals, and I want a reason. Remember, no reason, no marks. And then A equals and B equals for question 2. I'm going to give you a few minutes to do that, and then we'll have a look. So look carefully at your diagrams. What information do you have? How is that useful to find the missing angle? In question A, that's M, and in question 2, that's A and B. So at the end of the day, I should get 3 answers from you, all with a reason, please. Earlier, Bona, well done on giving a reason there. You guys remember your reasons. And remember, you've just taken a screenshot of all of your triangle reasons. So if you need to pull up that screenshot and see which reasons now apply to what you're working with. And remember, grade 8s, whenever you are doing geometry, write down everything. All right. So anything that you have needed to determine, anything that you've needed to make a statement about, in order to get your answer, you need to write it down. Rather write down too much and get full marks than leave off something silly and risk losing a mark. All right. We don't want to do that. Gosh, you're clearly a Monday and clearly towards the end of term. My body is giving up. Remember, as well, grade 8s, there's often at least 2 ways to find any unknown angle in a diagram. And so what that means is that as I go through these, I will try and give you the alternatives that you could have used. And as long as you've applied your reasons correctly, you will get full marks. Even if you've done it in a different way, as long as you've correctly applied the geometry reasons, you will get full marks. One more minute and then we're going to have a look. Okay, does anyone want to raise their hand to help me with question 1? Anyone feeling like explaining question 1 for us? Okie dokes, no problem. Okay, so a lot of you have used the correct reason. There is a different way to do this, but exterior angles is definitely easier. So if you have a look here, triangle CDB has an exterior angle of 130 degrees. So what that means is we know that if we add AT and M, we must get 130. And so that's our statement that we're going to make. M plus 180 degrees must give us the 130 degrees because of exterior angles of a triangle. Now we just solve for M. So we're going to subtract 80 on both sides. So 130 minus 80, giving us that M is equal to 50 degrees. Oh, 50 degrees. Okay. Now you didn't have to do it like that. You could have also gone and worked out what this angle CDB was. So angle CDB is angles on a straight line with 130. So 180 minus 130 because of angles on straight line, which means that that angle CDB is equal to 50 degrees. And now that you know that this angle is equal to 50 degrees, you could have used sum of angles in a triangle. So M plus 50 plus 80 must be equal to 180 degrees. Sum of angles in a triangle. I don't have enough space for all my working out, but you will get, once you use inverse operations, that M is equal to 50. So guys, either one is fine. You will get full marks for both of those. Either you use exterior angles, or you first use angles on a straight line and then angles in a triangle. Now for the green option, it goes back to what I said earlier. You have to write everything down. So you have to have written down that you know that angle CDB is equal to 50 because of angles on a straight line. If you don't, you're starting to make assumptions. So write down everything and make sure that you get the mark. Anyone, I'm going to try again. Anyone want to raise their hand and help me with question 2? Obviously, we're not forcing you, but if you are feeling brave, if you are wanting to give it a go. Okay. Right, guys, now for this one, you could start with A or B. Either one, you can get the answer. I'm just going to go alphabetically, but it really doesn't matter. So what we see here is that A and 125 are adjacent angles on a straight line. And so what that means is that A plus 125 degrees must give us 180. And that's all because of angles on straight line. Once we have that, we use our inverse operation. So we're going to say 180 minus 125 in order to get A. Oh my golly. Cool. And so A is equal to 55 degrees. Now again, once I have an angle, I like to put it on my diagram because it might help me later on. It might not. We'll see. When it now comes to angle B, you've got two options. And either one's absolutely fine. You will get the marks. Either you're going to use sum of angles in a triangle because now you've got A, you've got 45, and you've got B. Or you are going to use exterior angle of a triangle because 125 is the exterior angle which means that if we add together 45 and B, we must get 125. Either one will give you the correct answer. I'm going to use exterior angle. So what we know is that B plus 45 degrees must give me the exterior angle of 125. And that's my reason, exterior angle of triangle. And so using inverse operations, we're going to subtract 45 degrees on both sides of my equation. And so B is equal to 80 degrees. I'm saying it with a lot of confidence. As you can see, because I am having a day, I better double check. That B is equal to 80 degrees. Now you would have gotten that whether you said angles in a triangle or whether you used exterior angles like I did. Either one gives you exactly the same answer. And that's why I'm saying there's often multiple ways to do the same thing. As long as you apply your reasons correctly, you will get full marks. Right, so I'm going to wait here in case you want a screenshot. I'm also going to wait here in case anyone has any questions for me. Otherwise, I'm going to move on to the next examples. So remember, if you've got questions, now is the time. You are welcome to raise your hand if you want. Otherwise, do continue to use the chat. Okay, I'm assuming no questions. I'm also assuming we have our screenshots. I'll wait 10 more seconds just in case. All right. Okay, so I'm not going to give you both just because for the last one, there's a couple angles you need to find. I want you guys to try question 3 by yourselves for me again. In this one, again, just take note of the fact that you've got X and Y that you need to find the values of. So there's 2 angles that are missing and 2 angles I want answers for. Same drill, answer and reason in the chat. All I'm going to say, guys, is look very carefully at your diagram. You have quite a few, you've got 3 triangles there. See how they're useful to you. All right, you can start with X, you can start with Y. In this case, it doesn't actually matter, but look at your diagram carefully, look at what you have, and look and see how you can take any of those 4 reasons for triangles, or even the straight line reasons, and apply them to finding X and Y. I'm not seeing any answers yet, but obviously still early days. Okay, so guys, like I say, be careful or be mindful rather of what triangles you have there and how they are potentially useful to you. And think of all of the reasons that we've learned. And guys, just bear in mind that, and I'm really just saying this because the last class we were getting some weird and wacky answers. that even though we don't draw diagrams accurately, so you can't now go take a protractor and measure those angles and expect to measure 42 degrees, we do try and make the diagram look realistic. So for example, what I mean by that is y is clearly an acute angle. So if you're getting like 200 degrees for y, you're doing something wrong, all right? So your diagrams, whilst not necessarily perfectly to scale so that you could use a protractor or a ruler to measure the lengths we've given you, they should look realistic, all right? So again, angle Y is clearly not an obtuse angle, so you shouldn't be getting an angle greater than 90 degrees. X is an obtuse angle, so, or looks like an obtuse angle. So the likelihood is that you should get an angle bigger than 100. But if you go and measure those angles with the protractor, you won't get the same measurement. So it should look more or less. Obviously, we don't assume anything. So we don't say, oh, it looks like a right angle, I'm going to assume. No. But if it looks obtuse, it probably is. If it looks acute, it probably is. Okay, so I've seen 3 people's answers come through so far. 4. Keep them coming. And again, guys, there's a couple different ways you can do these. So cold. There's a couple different ways that you can do these. So just because I do it one way, or you see it pop up on the chat as someone having done it one way, doesn't necessarily mean it's the only way to do it. Again, I'll try and give you all possible reasons as we go along. Okay, I'm going to give you 1 more minute. Right, anyone feeling brave and wants to help me with this question? Raise your hand. Again, no pressure. Okay. All right, that's fine. I'll do it. Okay. I'm going to start with X. You could have started with Y. It really doesn't matter. So what I saw with X was this triangle CDB. X was an exterior angle to that triangle. So I'm going to use exterior angles. What I then know is that X must be equal to 68 plus 42. That's going to be my statement. X, whoopsie daisies, is equal to 68 plus 42 because of exterior angles of a triangle. And so adding those 2 values together, I get X is equal to 110 degrees. Now you didn't have to do it like that. What you could have done is you could have worked out this 3rd angle on the triangle CDB using sum of angles in a triangle. You have to write that down. Okay, you have to. And once you've done that, you could then use angles on a straight line to work out X. Absolutely fine as well. You also could have waited to do X last, gotten Y first, and then you could have used angles in a triangle there. So lots of different ways to do it, but at the end of the day, you should have X is equal to 110 degrees. Remember, I always put what I find on my diagram in case it helps me. Right, guys, for Y, again, a couple different ways you can do it. Either you see the big triangle ABC, and you see sum of angles in a triangle for Y, or you see the smaller triangle ACD, and again, use sum of angles in a triangle. Either way, you're going to get exactly the same answer. It makes no difference. Just because it's highlighted, that's what I'm going to use. So I know that Y plus 36 plus the 110 that I've just found. And that's again why I write angles down on my diagram. Because I knew 110, it now helps me to find Y. And that's because of sum of angles in a triangle Okay, 36 plus 110, I'm going to add together to give me 146 because they're like terms. And using inverse operations, I now subtract 146 on both sides. And so that leaves me with a y value of 34 degrees. So again, a couple different ways that we can get all of these answers, all of them correct as long as you have applied your reasons correctly. So you should have gotten x is 110, and I gave you a bunch of different ways you could have done that. And you should have gone y equals 34, and again, I gave you 2 different ways that you could do that. So take your screenshots, guys. If anyone has any questions, now's the time to raise your hand. If not, we're going to take a brain break before we carry on with a couple more examples. Sure, Lubanzi. Okay, so Lubanzi just asked me to show question 2 and 3. So there you go, if you need question 2 as well. So Lubanzi, remember, I'm not showing you 4 just yet. We're going to take a little brain break and then we'll do question 4. So we'll come back to it, don't worry. Alrighty, guys, brain break time. So make sure you get up and make sure you stretch. I feel like we've done this one before. Someone just tell me, have we done this brain break before? Does it look familiar? I could just be losing my mind.
It doesn't look familiar at all, though. I know we've done some fruits, but I'm not sure if it's the same one. I don't think so.
Okay, yeah, I think that's maybe where I'm getting confused. Okay, guys, so brain break. Here we go. Like Yolanda says, it does look familiar because I think we've done one similar to this, but we haven't done the same one. So you know the drill. Let us see who gets the answer correct. The answer correct first time round. I need to get an answer as well. Hopefully you don't beat me. So we're looking for the value of that last equation. Let's see what we get. And remember, first person to get it right, we're going to call on you. Arian, well done. First one to get it correct. Yes, 26 is our answer. If you want to raise your hand to explain for us, that would be wonderful. Arian, you want to raise your hand to explain it for us? Okay, no problem. Don't stress. Then someone else got 26 as well. Omfa, do you want to raise your hand to explain it for us? Aaron's not feeling too well, so we're gonna pass it to our next one. Omfa, if you want to raise your hand to explain for us. You were the next person who got 26. Oh. Yo, guys, no one wants to talk tonight. Okay. Lubanzi, would you like to explain it for us? Guys, I feel like I'm all alone here. Like I know you're there, but you're not there. It's hurting me. Tristan, do you want to help me out? No, thank you. Okay, Tristan. There we go.
Hi, ma'am.
Hi.
Okay, so
I'm just going to number them for you just to make it a bit easier so you can tell me which
we're
equation you're
going
working with.
to start with like, okay, so you're going to start with number 3 because we already have our answer, which is 24, so we can work with 24. So
Perfect.
you're going to take 24 and you're going to divide it by 2 to get the grapes. So 24 divided by 2 will be 12. So it's going to be 12 plus 12.
Cool.
So since we know what the grapes are, we're going to work with number 2 now, because the answer for number 2 will be 12. And it says 1 times something will equal to 12. So obviously it's going to be 12 times 1. So the strawberry will be 12. And then now we work with number 1 because we have the answer for number 1, which will equal to 12 as well because that's the strawberry. Then we have 3 pineapples. So we're going to take 12 divided by the 3 pineapples. And 12 divided by 3 will give you 4. So each pineapple will be 4.
Good.
So now we go to number 4. And the answer for number 4 is 6. So you're going to take 4. So we're going to use inverse operation, and you're going to take 6 minus 4, which will give you 2, which is the watermelon.
Good.
Okay, and then we can do the last equation since we have all our numbers, which is number 5, and we're going to take 12 plus 12 plus 2, which would give us 26.
Excellent, Tristan. Thank you. That was excellent. And I love the explanation with the inverse operations and why we're dividing by 2 and 3. That was amazing. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, so guys, that's exactly how you need to think about it. It's an equation. So think of inverse operations. Think of the four pineapples, the 3 pineapples representing x plus x plus x, or a plus a plus a. These are just equations. We're just using fruit instead of variables. Okay, that was beautifully explained. I don't think I could have done better myself. So thank you for helping me. Right, so guys, I hope we've all had a stretch. I hope we've all run to the loo, grab some water if we needed. We're going to have a look at example 4 that I said we would come back to. So get ready. It's a fun one. Right, so this is your example 4. You're going to do it by yourselves again. There's just 1 or 2 things I want to make sure that we see before we just dive into it. Okay, so first thing that I hope that we see is that there's 4 angles you need to find a value of. There's A, B, C, and D. So here we've got A, B, C, she's lost her mind, it's all okay. C, and then D on the far left here. And the next thing I want you to take note of is the fact that I've given you equal sides. So I've told you, Miss Molly. I have told you that this side over here is equal to this side over here in my triangles, and I know that because of the lines on them. So just bear that in mind. You're going to try it. What I want you to remember is what I said earlier. You write down everything. Everything. So A, B, C, and D. And remember, I've given you 2 equal sides in a triangle. So just bear that all in mind. And guys, remember, we don't give you useless information. If I've given it to you, it's going to be useful. Pleasure camera, no problem. Remember, answer with reason. So A equals with a reason, B equals with a reason, etc., etc. Remember, guys, you have to give reasons. No reason, no marks. That's what you need to have as your like mantra in your head when you're doing geometry. You don't give a reason, you don't get the marks. Sorry guys, I know my light's a bit weird here. I'm just being a bit lazy and don't want to turn on the main light. But it's fine. We've got like 15 minutes.
We can see you, teacher Sim, so it's okay.
I'm just being so lazy. I don't want to get up and turn on the main light.
We can see you. I'm sitting in darkness because I have load shedding.
Oh my gosh. I feel like
There's
you just
not even a
constantly.
slight ray of light. Crazy.
I don't understand. I don't understand it.
Yeah.
It's not possible. Okay, I see some of us starting to get to B. That's very nice. Well done. Nice, Eva. I like that we've got all of our answers there. You clearly sat, thought it through. Show me as well. Nice. Okay, guys, 1 more minute and then I'm going to go through it. The giveaway, nice. I love when we put all our answers together. It's not the end of the world if you don't. I just do enjoy it. It's very like aesthetically pleasing. Eva, well done. Oh, I thought you didn't say that. Okay, 20 seconds. Alrighty, guys, let's have a look. Okay, so you can start anywhere you want again. Although in this case, this question, you're probably going to have to start with it. Chantal, was that a hand to explain? Was it? Oh, sorry, I muted you. Unmute yourself. So sorry. There you go. Do you want to try?
Evening, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yay! Okay, I'm ready.
Can I please try A?
Yes, perfect.
Ma'am, so I said A plus 118 is equals to 180. My reason is angles on a straight line.
Excellent.
So I say A is equals to 180 minus 118.
Oh. Yeah, perfect. Sorry, I'm being silly. Good.
And then, ma'am, I got A is equals to 62.
Perfect. Excellent. Well done. Do you want to carry on?
No, ma'am. No, ma'am.
Okay, that's fine. Okay, nice, guys. So Chantal's beautifully given us the first answer for A. Again, I've popped it on my diagram just in case it's useful to me. Anyone want to carry on? I'm going to say and hope. We'll see what happens. Oh, okay. That's all right. It does get a little trickier from here. So guys, the next thing that I see is that I've got one of the angles in that yellow sort of triangle situation. But what I also see is that because I've got equal sides, I can see that B and C must be equal to each other. Now this goes back to what I said. You now have to write the statement down. You're about to use it for the purposes of finding B and C. You have to write the reason down. You've used it, it must be there in your answer. So we're going to state that B is equal to C because of angles up equal sides. And Luandle, I see your hand. You can keep it up if you want to carry on explaining. Luandle, do you want to carry on explaining this? Okay, let me finish this and then you can pop on and explain how you did it. Alrighty, guys, so we know that they're equal. And because we know that they're equal, essentially that means we've got two B's or two C's. It doesn't really matter, but they're the same thing. So now we can make a statement that B plus that 62 that we found earlier is equal to 180 degrees because of sum of angles and triangle. Okay, so B plus B is 2B plus 62 is equal to 180. Inverse operations, I'm going to subtract 62 on both sides. So I've got 2B is equal to 180 minus 62 degrees, which means that 2B is equal to 118. Don't know why that took me so long. We're going to divide both sides by 2 because remember we want the value of B. So B is equal to 59 degrees. And because we made the statement here at the start that B is equal to C, we can automatically say that C is also equal to 59 degrees. So we can put both answers down immediately because we made that first statement. Okay, okay, perfect. So you can raise your hand if you want to explain, but if you feel it's been covered, that's absolutely fine. So guys, just remember that in order for us to do these steps over here with the B plus B, we have to first make that statement that the two angles are equal. Otherwise, you saying B plus B or C plus C is an assumption. Okay, cool. So another way that you could have done this, if you want to, is you could have said that 118 is an exterior angle to that yellow triangle, which means it must be equal to those two angles added together. And so you could have used a similar reasoning. Joshua, yes, you have to always write B equals C. I haven't told you B is equal to C. If we go back to the original question, I gave you two different variables. So you have to show me that you know that they're equal in order for you to carry on. If you don't, like I say, you have then made an assumption. So you have to write it down, yes. Okay, so guys, we've got B, we've got C, and we've got A. So the only thing left we have to find is D. D we can see is vertically opposite to B. So D we can immediately just write down as 59 degrees because of vert-op angles. Okay, and this goes back to what I said earlier. You need to be able to apply all of your geometry reasons. So even the ones that we learned with straight lines, you have to be able to apply. Just because we have a triangle here doesn't mean that we need to or that we can forget about all of our other reasons. All right, so I'm going to wait for you to take a screenshot. I see there's a question here on the chat. Okay, so Ziva's question is, if it says in the question that B is equal to C, do we still have to write it? No, because I gave you that information either in the question or even if I somehow illustrated it on the diagram, then you don't have to write it down. That's then been given to you, you can use it. If I haven't given it to you, that's when you have to write it down. But good question. So if it is in the information, you don't have to write it down. Okay, so guys, you're taking screenshots. If anyone has any more questions, you can raise your hand and you can ask. Otherwise, we've got time for one more. Zandile? Muted myself. Sorry, Zandile, I did see your hand. Do you have a question? Okay, if you do have a question, you're welcome to raise your hand again, or you're welcome to put it in the chat. If you're fine, that's also okay. Okay, so grade 8, so let's have a look at one more before we end off. So, Zandile, yes, D is just 59 degrees because of vert-op angles. That's it. All right. I'm just trying to decide which one I want to give you. I want to give you question 5, and it looks like it's easy because there's only one variable that you have to find, and it is, but this goes exactly to what I've just said. You have to write down everything that you are doing in order to get your answer. So let's try our best for this last example to make sure that we are writing down all of the important information that we're using in order to get X. So again, you're going to try it by yourselves. We're looking for X here, only X, so just one angle. But what I want you to try really hard here to do is to make sure that you are writing down everything. So you can't just go straight to your answer. You need to show all of the steps that you took in order to get to X. Okay, I'm going to give you 2 minutes and then we're going to have a look. Again, guys, this isn't hard, but you have to make sure you write everything down. Remember your reasons as well, grade 8. And yeah, I'm gonna try those English words again. Again, there are a couple different ways that you can get this answer. So again, as those reasons come through, just because your reason looks different to someone else doesn't mean it's wrong. One more minute and then I'm going to go through it. Alrighty, so guys, we need to write down everything. All right, so what we have been given, so stuff that we don't need to write down. We've been given the 36 degree, and we've also been given that, I don't know how to do this, that this line RS is equal to the line RQ. Okay, I know that because of those lines given to me there, I know that they're equal. So the first thing I can state is because they're equal, I know that the angles opposite them are equal. So this angle down here at RSQ, so angle RSQ, remember we label angles according to the lines that create them. So from R to S to Q, I get that angle is equal to the angle, and again, follow your line, RQS. You put the hat on the letter in the middle because that's where the angle is. So we know that they're equal because they are angles opposite equal sides. Yes, you have to write that down. If you haven't written it down, you need to take a mark off from yourself. So we now know that those angles are equal. So I'm going to put 2 little dots there to show that they're equal. And because they are equal, I could now use sum of angles in a triangle to work out their value. So I know that the angle RSQ, and actually maybe let's put a variable in here because otherwise it's going to be chaos. So I'm going to say that they're equal to A. So I'm going to put A, I'm going to put A. And you're welcome to do that, grade 8s. If you want to assign a variable to these angles, that's fine. Just write it down like I've done, and then you sort it. So A plus 36 must give me 180 degrees because of my sum of angles in triangle. And now we can solve. So A plus A is 2A plus 36. I'm going to now use inverse operations and subtract 36 on both sides. Whoopsie daisies. Cool, cool, cool. So 2A is equal to 180 minus 36, which is 144. And I'm going to divide both sides by 2 in order to get A alone, which gives me that A is equal to 72 degrees. So on my diagram, I have just worked out that both of these angles are 72. Now you've got some options. Either you can see that X is an exterior angle of your triangle, so you could say X is equal to 36 plus 72, or you could use angles on a straight line with 72 and X, and you can get your answer. Either way, you're going to get the answer. It makes no difference. I'm going to use angles on a straight line because we haven't used that in a while. So X plus 72 degrees is equal to 180 angles on straight line. And so inverse operations, 180 minus 72 tells me that X is equal to 108 degrees. Okay, so guys, a lot of writing out here, but that's because we had to give all of that information. If you don't give all of that information, you're going to lose marks. It's definitely more of a complex type question, but we have to remember that we write everything down in order to get our answer. So you'll see the poll is up. Please make sure you answer it. We're at 58%. So while we're waiting for everyone to answer that poll, if anyone has any questions, you can raise your hand. Luandle, you're welcome to give it a variable. It does make it a bit easier when you now start writing out equations. As long as you then say, like I did in my working out. So you can see here in my working out, I made the statement that I've shown it's equal to A. As long as you write it down, that's fine. Londeka, okay, so what I'm concerned with is that you've written down that you've got angles opposite equal sides, that you've got sum of angles in a triangle, and that you then either use angles on a straight line or exterior angles. In terms of the working out between, absolutely. Skip a few steps, that's fine, but you should have all 3 of those reasons.